Hey family, welcome in to Divine Golden Master. Okay, and I am Divine here with another video. All right, you guys. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that you watched my last video because this is kind of a spin-off, and also a tool that will help you to be able to do those things. And this is just gonna be I'm gonna be posting a few videos that are gonna help you on your journey to true your true godhood, your true goddesshood, and really being in control of your reality because it's yours and no one else can control your reality. Nobody else can control your 3D circumstances but you, okay? So I'm here to teach you guys how to transmute. All right, now when it comes to transmutation, it is very important that you realize what you need to transmute, okay? And a lot of us, with us going through this mass awakening, we going through these spiritual shifts, so many different energies, so many different planetary alignments, so much happening within the media. You go on the news, you see so many crazy things happening. Um, just so many things going on in our outer reality that a lot of times these things can penetrate and damage our inner reality and cause things like spiritual attacks, psychic attacks. Fear is definitely very prevalent. Um, and also, too, feeling like someone's watching you, or like always feeling watched, always feeling under surveillance, always feeling like someone's gonna come out and get you, okay, or even feeling like dark energy, demonic energy, um, and that goes along with the spiritual attack. Feeling like things are after you, okay. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the different ways it could be happening, and how to ultimately transmute these energies, these feelings, because they are very real when going through them. But when you're able to transmute, which is alchemy, when you're able to transmute and you're able to alchemize these energies in these situations, then you notice your power, number one, and you also, your life changes drastically and for the better, okay? So I got my notes, you guys, and we're going to talk about two of the main type of energies that you may feel this from, like the source of where you're getting these psychic attacks from, where you're getting this spiritual shift from, where you're getting this fear based energy from. Okay, so these things could be coming from you, yourself, your subconscious mind, and we're going to break it down. They could be coming from you, yourself, and your subconscious mind. Number two, they can be coming from energies around you, okay? People around you, energy around you, the company that you keep, places that you may be going. You may feel in certain places more triggered or more heavy energy, okay? And the third one is going to be, we did your subconscious mind, other people, and the third one is through media, um, through outside things that are not necessarily in human form. Okay, we're gonna say that. The third one is gonna be outside forces that are not in human form. Okay, all right. So now, when it comes to you and your subconscious mind, we are raised from an early age, right? From an early age, we are taught to sit down, listen, do this, go to learn how to use a pot, learn how to do this. Then it's like, okay, if you are in a family of religion, okay, you're going to church every week. Or if you're in a family of whatever you were born into, right? That is deeply embedded in you because it's something that has been being forced into you, talked into you ever since you were alive in this human body form that you're here in right now. And even if the people that you're around, they're doing the best they could do with what they have, they may not be giving you what's best for you. So that's when it comes to when we are on our spiritual journeys and we start to come to find our spiritual path and we start to realize, okay, well, this religion doesn't really resonate with me, or I was raised this way, but it doesn't really resonate with me and who I am. It doesn't feel right. And as we begin to break away from these programs, okay, because that's what it is, programs, as we break away from these programs, we start to have a little pullback. And that pullback will come from that fear. You may fear something, or you may feel like you're being spiritually attacked. You may have thoughts that are very isolating, or visions and things like that that are very much debilitating, right? These things can be very drastic and they can be very, I said isolating already, but it can make you feel like, the world is against you type of feel. So it's very important that we know that our subconscious mind is really the main ingredient on this whole transmutation. You trying to transmute energy on this whole journey. That subconscious mind is so vital to understand how it works. Okay. And this is kind of too about what we spoke about a lot last year, was living through our spirit and moving with our spirit instead of our mind. Okay. Because the mind can be dangerous when it's not programmed in the correct way. Okay. Now, when it comes to other people, so we just spoke about you, right? And you may have whatever background you have, this, that, and the third. Okay, so you may get yourself under wraps and you figuring out your spiritual journey, and you doing your thing, and you healing and this, that, and the third. And say you may be in a relationship, or you may have a best friend or something that has you've known forever, or however, whatever the case may be, right? And when you come around this person, you may feel certain energy, or you may think certain thoughts, or you may feel certain type of way. Okay, like especially for me, when I go around other people that may have anxiety and things like that, because that's something I already uh overcame. I used to struggle with it, but I've overcame it. But when I go around other people that may have something that's very similar to what I have, like a social anxiety or some type of anxiety, I will be able to really resonate with their energy and understand it. But before I was able to separate myself from it, I took ownership of it, thinking that that was my energy, not realizing that I was just feeling that energy of the other person. Hear me out now, okay? So, what I'm saying is that when you're around other people, be conscious of the thoughts that you have. Be conscious of the feelings and the emotions that you feel. Be conscious of even just the alertness or the comfortability and things like that. Pay attention to all those things because they are indicators of what may be going on. Okay. And those indicators are more so of tools that we were given in this human realm, in this 3D realm, in this human body, to be able to decipher and move ourselves through different energies. Okay. So do not ignore when you're around someone and you're feeling an energy, or you're around someone and you weren't thinking like this before, but now you're around this person, so you're thinking like this. Be aware of that. Okay. Now, when I said um, places, uh, media, my eye, y'all, I'm sorry. Excuse me, I apologize. But yeah, with places, media, certain type of and not necessarily so much places, because places too can be more so of the people who are um in that vicinity. Okay, so that's still kind of other people, but when it comes to media, social media, TV shows, um how's my eye watering? TV shows, um movies, different things. What people don't know is too, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but what people don't realize is that whenever you watch a movie or show, whenever you watch anything, especially like movies and things like that, though, other than the news, we're going to talk about the news too. But when you watch those things, it's a form of magic, okay? And necromancy, and that is to things to do with the dead, okay? Um, that's what you're doing, right? You're tapping into a energy. You're not just watching a movie, because what was the first thing we talked about? Your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind doesn't have a filter. It just takes what you feed it. So even if, like, especially as a child, you're just taking in what's fed. You're not rationally thinking about nothing. You're not critically, and even when you're watching a movie, you may be critically analyzing it or whatever, but most time you're just watching something, you're just watching it. You're just taking it in, right? So um that is someone else's work of art, or their depiction of whatever it is, a form of, like, if you was to sit here and have a conversation with that person and they told you about this story and so and so and so and so, that is, you feel me? So keep that in mind. So say, especially like that movie that was trending, or that it was that show on Netflix, about that rapist or whatever that man was, and he was having sex. I don't know what. I don't even know what the show was, but he was having sex with like that black man or something. And he was gay, but he was killing people, and it was just like, what is going on here? And I don't have nothing against gay people. It was just a lot of disturbing things going on though, because I think he was raping the guy or something. I don't even know. I watched the first episode and I said, oh hell no. As soon as I watched it, I was like, see, this what they trying to do. Like, cause I already can pick out when things are obviously some form of mind control, right? Because you're trying to, like, especially with the news, and certain things will release at certain times to inflict a form of trauma, right? Because that's another way that um we get we start to feel these psychic attacks, and we start to have these fearful mindsets, because we will go through so many traumatic events that it's like now we're scared of everything, and now we're questioning everything, or now we don't believe in anything, or and not in a good way, you feel me? So let's talk about it, y'all. You really can look at especially like this year. This is the year of 7, the year of Mott. This is why it's important too that you have knowledge, not just get enlightened, but get wise and study and gain wisdom and learn. Okay. And realize too things that are outside of, we talked about what? Paradigm blindness. Look at things outside of your inner environment. Look at things outside of your country, your state. Look at things outside of what you've been told. Period. Okay. And what is it? Something flying? What is that? Y'all, see, look. That's a sign. I'm gonna have to look it up. What was that? A little, I don't know if it was a ladybug or what was it? What happened? Okay. All right. It looked like one of them little beetles or something. It just flew away. I don't know, y'all. We're gonna have to look at the spiritual meaning of that after we go up the video. Okay, that's a sign. That's a sign. All right. Everything is a sign. Everything. All right. So, like especially for myself too, I used to have a fear of being alone and things like that, and it's just like, it was more so of I just didn't know how to be alone. I was always around others my whole life. I just didn't know how to be alone. So it was like we fear what we don't know. You feel me? We fear what we don't know. And once you, even just like you may start to go do something new and you may be fearful of it, but once you do it, it's like, oh, okay, that wasn't that bad. So you feel me? This is a form of initiation. So as we going through our awakenings and our enlightenment, okay, and we're pulling back the different veils of society, and we're learning and we're seeing that things are bigger than this, and we're learning, okay, the all is mine, right? So the all is mine, we're creating and we're seeing all this. It has to be a point where you realize that you literally realize that you are creating and you're the God of your reality. So anything that you're fearful of, you created. You feel me? But understand that if you created it, that means you can create something else. And that is the essence of transmuting this energy, or any energy that may feel like a psychic attack, or um, spiritual warfare, spiritual shifts. Okay. And you have to also keep in mind too of, we're, nobody's more like, a lot of people too, that like a lot of my clients, like nobody is above you, like in your reality. Nobody can be above you in your reality. So especially like people come with, oh, this one did work on me, this one did work on me, this and that. Okay, but how strong is your mind, right? Because that's another thing too, about people get so mad about people doing love work and things like that. But if a person's mind is strong, you're not going to penetrate that. You're not going to be able to penetrate that, because this person knows who they are. Okay? So you must know who you are. You must be able to identify those things and realize that you're a God and that you're a creator of your reality, to be able to transmute this energy. And you must believe that in your subconscious mind, because your subconscious is the one that's kicking things out, and your conscious mind is kind of just reacting to it. Okay. Now, now when you look at it as a form of initiation, you will realize what's actually going on. Okay, so anything that you're fearful of, all right, I want you to ask yourself these questions. All right, you fearful of something, or you feel like it's too much, and you just, it's something that's debilitating you, or it's something that's making you super depressed, or feeling like, like, because a lot of times too, it could be, these things could be isolating, depressing, and consult your doctors. I'm not a doctor, just so you two don't try to sue me. I'm not a doctor, none of that. Da, 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 da. But okay. But okay. Um, I want you to ask yourself these three questions. What why do I think about this? Okay? Why do I think about this? Especially when it comes to anxiety and things like that. Why do I think about this? Ask yourself, what is the motivating force behind this? Why am I thinking about this? Am I thinking about this because I failed at this before? Am I thinking about this because it didn't work out? Am I thinking about this because somebody told me this, I wasn't going to be good enough for this? Am I thinking about this because of this? Now, sometimes we don't have the exact answer, right? Because sometimes it's just something that's embedded within that subconscious from childhood where we don't even really know where it came from. But when you start to ask yourself, why do I think about this? We got two more questions too. But when you start to ask questions, that's when you start to critically think. And that's what I tell y'all all the time. When you start to critically think, you become a force. You're not just, life isn't just happening to you then. You're not just making your way through life then. You're a force. You've realized who you are. The next question I want you guys to ask yourself is, why am I afraid of this? Okay, so I keep thinking about this, I'm afraid of it, or it's just something that comes up sometimes and maybe you're afraid of it. Why am I afraid of this? Am I afraid of this because, like, especially too, a lot of fear-based programming, not just TV and things like that, but religion. Religion, government, race can have a lot of fear put for races. Okay. Why am I afraid of this? And honestly, answer that question. The next question is, what is the worst thing that can happen? What is the worst thing that can happen? Tell me. What's the worst thing that can happen, right? Literally. And I just seen a quote too that said, when you live your life in fear, you're scared of death. But when you live your life fully, you're ready to die any day because you're living your life fully. It doesn't matter. You're living fully. And at the end of the day, we know that that's reality. We're all going to die one day, right? So if it's death that you're fearing, get over that because we all die. We're all gonna. Is it? And it's just like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Like, if it's like, I used to be like, when I used to be scared as a little kid, and like, you be scared of the dark or other little stuff as a kid, and me and my cousin, we used to be like, hey, bro, if it's my day, it's my. It just is what it is. If y'all gonna take a red nigga out right now, then just go ahead. If it's gonna be by a day, it's gonna be by a day. I can't worry about it. Because the biggest thing for me was that I'm not gonna be controlled by anything. I'm not gonna be controlled by anything. So if I'm not gonna be controlled by anything, then I'm not fearful of anything. I'm not scared of anything. And that's what's something that I always as a child I tell myself, like, I'm not gonna be controlled by anything. Anyone, anything, any place, person, nothing. So realize that whenever you're in a fearful mindset or whenever you're feeling anxiety and you're being controlled by something. So ask yourself those three questions to break the shackles and the bondage that you're in, because you should be living your life fully every moment. Also, too, another thing, and this piggybacks off that social media thing, where it's a lot of people being fearful of not being enough, not having enough, things like that. But if we were not so intertwined with all these different people's lives 24/7, and you were just living yours, you probably wouldn't even feel like you were lacking anything. You would just feel like everything is great. Or just like when we only had, like, they only had these small grocery stores back in the day and things like that. And now it's just like the bigger the better. Now we got supermarkets. Now we got all this other stuff. But the basic food stores was great. They was perfect back then. That's all they needed. It didn't come that we needed so much more till it was so much more. Catch what I'm saying? We didn't think that we needed so much more till there was so much more. Which means that we never really needed it. It's good that we have it, but we never really needed it. And that's another thing too that will help you transmute energy of like, it's not that we came here to just work so hard and play later. You feel me? We're supposed to play right now. It wasn't that we just supposed to be out here struggle mindset and this, and that. Do you think they was doing all this stuff that we be like all these years ago and all these years ago? No, they wasn't. So always keep that in mind, and also to study history to pay attention to, like it's not just us. It's not just these last couple hundred of years or or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like study the society, study these things, and see too. Like okay, well, because especially too, it's like collectively we're moving out of the energy of moving from survival to a more okay, well, what is life really about? And that's another reason why you could be feeling these energies and these strong uh fearful tactics and all this, because it's like we're moving into an era of more so think about social media, things like that, where you can work from your home, even just with the whole thing that happened 3 years ago. We learned that wow, we can literally operate this society without having to go out and do so many things and this, and the third. So that opened up a new, for a lot of people, that opened up a new era of entrepreneurs. That pushed people to their limit because they were forced to, right? So think about whenever you're experiencing fear, psychic attacks, spiritual attacks, it is something that's trying to push you to your limit to the next level. Hold on, let me get my drink. Y'all got some coffee. So good. I'm trying to figure out how to start coughing so I get on camera. Good all day. And now they try to mess with my throat chakra. We're gonna get it out to them. Please stop. All right. Anyway, so look at everything around you that is scary and try to create a positive out of it. Now, if you're scared, go back to your religion or go back to some other form of God outside yourself and allow them to protect you. I'm speaking to people who are realizing that they are gods and goddesses. they don't they're not lazy. They don't need anyone else to just do it for them. They don't need to be a blind sheep. They are a leader. They are a god, a goddess, okay? So for those who feel like I don't have time to critically think, I work too much to take time to think about those things, or I'm too busy to try and work on my thoughts. I don't have time for that. Go back to church. But for my people that are gods and goddesses, we create and what we transform energy, okay? And always realize too that whatever you don't accept, you will not create. Okay? Like think about, you probably been wanting to be a millionaire, but because you ain't really believed it yet, you ain't made it there yet. But you may be believing in these demons and whatnot because as a child you was in a Christian church and they always told you fear God, this, and that. And now you feel like because you're on your spiritual journey and you're doing something outside of God that these demons is trying to get you, or you having these spiritual attacks because these people around you they don't really love you for real. They're not really supportive of you for real. So you feel their energy. You know what I'm saying? So Look at everything around you that is scary and try to create a positive out of it. Okay. Now, this is when you have to take that critical thinking into play and realize that whatever you don't accept, you will not create. Because why? The all is mine. You're the creator. If you don't accept it, it will not manifest. And realize that whatever is manifested, it's already done. That's past. You can't worry about that. You can't worry about what you're looking at right now. You can't worry about seeing me right now on your screen because you've already manifested this. You have to think about what you want to create. Because this right here, this 3D reality of time and space, it's already here. You're already seeing it. If you're already seeing it with your 3D eyes, then you've been created it. It's already here. Okay? Take the lead and replace. Okay? Energy doesn't die, it transforms. So take the lead and replace. If you're feeling especially too, sometimes even if you're experiencing something like death in the family, understand what death really is. That's when knowledge comes into play. And when you really understand that death is just transformation, that death is really transformation. And you understand too that you're even more connected to this person, right? Yeah, you may not have them in your physical reality, but if you understand energy, it's just transformed. Death is just transformation. So even when it comes to something like death, you can get past that. You can get past that. You can transmute that. Okay? Now, also too, I feel like a lot of these things that when it comes to especially like people who can't get over death or can't get over heartbreak and things like that, it's a lot to do with as well of you going outside yourself for things that you need. That's another thing that we talked about. You got to watch that video from the other day. You must go within. You must get everything you need is within you. So anytime that something is just so devastating or you can't get past it, realize that that's outside you. Everything is within. Even when it comes to the death situation, you can connect with that ancestor. They just have transformed. Okay? And visualize how you can make this a enjoyable experience. Imagine a better opportunity. So, if you're dealing with something that's difficult, it's seeming rough, or whatever the case may be, you may want to go ahead and reframe it. But you may want to go ahead and exaggerate when you reframe. So instead of you reframing it to, like, say you're sad, somebody passed away, or whatever the case may be, instead of reframing it to just, okay, well, I know their energy has transformed and trying to change their emotions in that way, more so go about it as this person has transformed. I'll be able to connect with, like really go to the more so of extremes and imagine a better opportunity. Oh, I will be able to really connect with them now, or I will be able to really feel their energy, or however, whatever it is for you, or even just will into whatever you want it to be. Oh, this person just passed away, but I will them to keep connected with me, or I would, like, whatever it is for you, or however you're gonna do it. That's when your action comes into play. You critically think and you actually see, okay, well, what is going on here, this and the third. All right. Or also maybe too, whatever you were searching for in that person, or whatever you feel like you're gonna deeply miss in that person, I can give to myself now. I can provide this to myself now and even more. Especially when you overly exaggerate the experience, when you shift it from, okay, this is seeming like a negative, but you over exaggerate the positive. Even if you don't get to that over exaggerated, you at least get to that positive energy. And we know it's no negative or positive, but you get to a more so less fear based or less triggering energy. Okay. Um, and this is what, you guys, what is this called? Alchemy. Okay. This is becoming a true alchemist. And this is why I told you guys as well that if this is not sounding appealing to you, if this don't make sense to you, if this is not adding up, go back to some type of religion where you can go ahead and pray to a God and allow them to do it for you. But what I'm asking you and telling you to do, I'm not asking you, excuse me, what I'm telling you and informing you how to do is transmutation, which is alchemy, which is you're becoming an alchemist. Okay. So understand that as well, because I know a lot of people, are so used to going outside themselves for everything that this may strike a nerve. Okay, so before anybody gets in the comments, go back to church. Okay, go back to the religion or go back to what feels safe to you. But this is for people who are wanting to alchemize and change their lives and realize that they're the creators. Okay, and wake up from that sleep or that program. Okay. Um, and lastly, we're going to talk about emotion briefly. Okay. We're going to talk about emotion briefly because emotions is usually the driving force or the driving factor whenever you're feeling a a psychic attack or fear or a strong spiritual shift or something energetically. It's usually your emotions that it will pull on. And this is why I always used to tell y'all last year, emotions are not real, right? But it's more so of using your emotions for what they are, and that is indicators. You have to be able to get into your higher self energy so you can see yourself. Okay. Excuse me, y'all. Okay. But yeah, you have to get into that higher self energy, into that spirit energy, so you can be able to see more clearly. Because when we're too enmeshed in a situation, that puts a veil of blindness on us. Okay. So you have to be able to understand things and put and catch your emotions before you, like, you can't be someone who reacts out of emotions to be able to pull this off. You can't pull this off if you react out of your emotions, because all somebody has to do is trigger an emotion and they got you. You're reacting, you're giving energy, you're doing this. Okay. So, and this is the same when it comes to this same thing, these psychic attacks, the news, what you watch, these different things. It wants to pull on your empathy, your emotion, your feelings. It wants to appeal to what, because think about it. And we do most of the things that we do emotionally driven. You do things for people because you love them. You may go buy some chocolate because you're sad. You may go buy a bottle because you're sad. You may go do this because you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you may smoke a blunt because you have anxiety, or you may do this. So we're constantly doing things out of emotion. Okay? So being able to not act out of emotion, and to be able to critically think is a superpower, because that is one of the main keys that will push you into the transmutation. You gotta shut that off unless it's going to be beneficial for you. If your emotions are not beneficial to you and what you want, then you should not be reacting to someone, because in the end you're gonna lose. Even in just like if someone's scared of the dark and it makes them feel sad or whatever the case may be, the emotions, they're scared, whatever. If they stay fearful, they can't sleep at night. They tossing and turning. They can't this, they can't that. It didn't affect anybody but them. Nobody else was affected but them. So take time, especially when it comes to people that you know, when, because this is the main thing. Like, and this is what I find the most, like, because I feel like you can, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but in my opinion, when it comes to yourself and you're working on your subconscious mind, and then when it comes to what you watch and things like that, you can more so control that. But the eyeball and the I don't know what may happen more so comes from other people, other energies. So we can only do so much when it comes to certain people, right? But most people, you could just cut them off if they're triggering and they're making you feel this way, or take away time. But sometimes it could be someone that you live with. Okay, so something that helps in that aspect is taking time to think about things. Okay, and this is something I told y'all last year as well, or maybe it was the year before last, about if someone wants to rush you into something, you should never do it. You should always be able to sit and think about something or sit with something, because if you're rushing, just like lust, when people move fast in relationships, why y'all rushing? Because the lust and the energy and the infatuation only gonna last so long. That emotion, that intense emotion only will last so long. Who's to know what's after that, right? So we got to go in while we can win it. It's the same thing with everything else. Take time with things, don't rush, sit. And that will also help you to be able to transmute energy way easier, faster, and more effective. Just like older people, they more wise, even if they're not spiritual. Older people don't just like to do nothing right away. They like to sit with it, they like to think about it. That so utilize that in your own life. When you want to transmute energy, or especially if you're struggling to transmute these negative energies, sit with it. Sit with it. Ask yourself the questions if you need to. What do I think about this? Why am I afraid of this? What's the worst that can happen? Ask yourself these questions. Okay? And ultimately, this is self actualization. Being able to self actualize, okay? That is your gift. You can do that. But does everyone do that? No. Do we live in a society where that's something that's promoted, that's something that's taught, or is that something that's no? Hell no. The opposite. They want you to go get medicine and pills and do this and do that, or you know, when really we need to self actualize, because we can. Okay? Um and in the beginning, and even going down the line, I want you guys to do this little exercise because from the darkness comes creation, from the darkness comes light. Okay, so we create out of the darkness. And when you think about the darkness, think about when you close your eyes. If you can envision something, if you can imagine it, it happens, right? So go in complete darkness and think of the life you want to create. Okay, especially too because these things can be very debilitating on your life, right? Anxiety, um, all these different conditions and things, they can be very debilitating. And to a certain extent, some of them can put you in a mental asylum or wherever. When actually you may just be have super heightened spiritual powers or be super sensitive to energy, but you just don't know how to transmute it, or you just don't know how to turn it off per se, right? Or to balance it. And that's really about you having to know how to transmute it. So um, it's really vital that you face it and realize that you're mostly facing yourself because you're the god of your reality. It's your say so. Okay. All right. So I love you guys so much. I will see you guys in the next video. Go ahead and add my other channel, Divine Golden Intuitions, if you're into intuitive tarot card readings. And I will see you guys in my next one. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like this video, send me an energetic donation, comment. If you want to send any type of sow a seed to the channel, PayPal, Cash App will be in the description box. Add me on Instagram as well, you guys. And I am back posting on TikTok. Okay. So I love you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one.